You've been all asking me about gluten-free breads, rolls. I've got so many different ways I make it. Today I'm just going to show you the way I started it, and then I went from there. I put in about a cup and a half of flour in here, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. Sometimes baking soda has a little bite to it, but you do need it. So just put about a half a teaspoon. Baking flour, I would put, this is a half teaspoon. Is it? Yes, it is. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of baking powder in here. So that's a half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. Sugar, because this is not a cake, I'm just going to put, let's say about a little more than a half teaspoon of sugar. Just because sugar brings out taste in things. And then a couple dashes of salt. It depends on how much salt you want to use. Now what I'm going to do is warm this up. This, which is what, a sandwich maker, they have a few different names for it, is going to be your new best friend. This is my new best friend. Now this particular one, I picked up at the thrift store for $4. They had them on Black Friday. I saw some people had them for $10. Target, Walmart, they all sell them. They call them sandwich makers. They have different names for them. Get one of these. This is what you normally, let me show you. Inside you would put a piece of bread in with whatever, let's say you're making a grilled cheese or whatever. You would take, well actually you would make your sandwich, your grilled cheese, you'd put it in there and you'd press it down. This is for pressing and making sandwiches, but we're not going to use it for that. We're going to make rolls. So we're going to heat this up, and while that's heating up, and it heats up really fast, we're going to finish this. So I've got about, let's see, no, what does it say? Let me see what it says, because I'm really bad at measuring, but I'm learning for you all. It's almost 1.5 cups of flour. Okay, now we've got the baking soda. I'm going to add in 1 egg. So we've got a little bit of sugar, a couple dashes of salt. That goes in my compost bin. And we've got the baking powder in there, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And we've got half a teaspoon of baking soda. Now we've got 1 egg, of course with the flour. Oh, and you can use butter or oil. For today, let's just use a little bit. I'm putting in a little bit of olive oil. Oh, let's say about a tablespoon of olive oil. And now, going to add in some milk. If you don't want milk, you can use almond milk, you can use water, and just start mixing it up. If it looks, you'll get used to how you want to make it. If it looks too thin, add some more flour to it. And just mix it up and let that thing warm up. I'm telling you, I just want to rinse my hands. This is so good. You can make sandwiches out of this. You can eat them as rolls. I actually made my stuffing for Thanksgiving out of these rolls, and nobody knew it was gluten-free. It was so good. Now I'm going to make this on the thin side. Everybody can do it the way they want. You want it a little thinner, make it a little thinner. It doesn't matter. Cooking is just so easy to do, and it's very forgiving. Very forgiving. As long as you have ingredients you like eating, it is very forgiving. That's pretty much it. Got it all stirred up. I could have used butter if I wanted to instead. Now, like I said, this little thing is going to be your new best friend. This is great for families. This is great for a couple. This is great for a single person. And it's good even if you live in a dorm. If you're traveling and you don't like going out, or you want a nice piece of bread and you are gluten-free, you can carry a little one of those in your suitcase and go grab some ingredients. And you say, oh, well, you put eggs in there. I did put an egg in there. But you know what? They make powdered eggs. You can go to the grocery store and pick up powdered eggs. You can pick up powdered milk. You can have all your dry ingredients and then just go from there. As long as you have your baking flour. Even if you didn't have baking soda, because baking flour has, I believe, a little bit of baking soda in it, You could just go around with your baking powder. You don't need milk because you can buy powdered milk. You don't want milk, use almond milk. Get creative. If you're in a hotel room, use your creamer. I've done stuff like that. But that's about it. And then once you start making it, you're going to kind of figure out the way you really like it. Like I said, everybody's got their own taste on how they like things. We haven't had bread in years. I did go a few times. Where's my big spoon? I did go a few times. I'll use this right now. And buy bread. But I'll tell you honestly, it gets really hard to buy bread because a little gluten-free loaf is like $5, $6. I mean, it's tiny. It's like a little tiny thing. So we just didn't really eat bread. And as far as stuffing, I was making stuffing all different ways. I was buying the gluten-free stuffing. Well, now I can make my own rolls and cut it up, crumble it up, and mix it that way, and that's what I did. Okay, I'm going to show you how quick this is. And being that I'm talking, it's taking longer. Take some oil. That you really should use some oil. I'm going to use olive oil. Use any oil that you've got. That would be fine. And what you're going to do, it says it's heated. You're going to brush the bottom first. Because you don't want to drip oil all over. Okay, first we're going to brush the bottom. Now let's see if I need the big spoon or if I can do it with this. I think I can do it with this. We're going to fill, let me see if I can move this a little bit. We're going to fill each of those cavities up. See the little concaves in there? Now sometimes I do make it thicker than I made right now. And you know what? After the first batch, if I'm not happy with it, I'll make it again. And yes, I'm dripping all over, but oh well. Okay, let's just put this over here. And you know what? To be honest, I think I do want it thicker. That might not come out the way I want it. That's why I've got to come out with solid recipes. And then everybody mixes different. So even solid recipes aren't always right. But I'll show you how it will look if you made it too thin and how it will look if you made it thicker. With this, I'm just going to add in a little extra flour. Use an ice cream scooper, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to make it a little thicker. You can make it any way you want. Oh, my nose itches. But this has been so great. We've been eating sandwiches. And like I said, this little machine it's not made for this. But I had this idea that why not try to bake in it? I mean, why shouldn't I try to bake in it? It's hot. It's like a little oven. And I tried it and I went crazy. It became my best friend. I was first making gluten-free waffles and I was making sandwiches out of that. That started first. I came home with a waffle maker. And then I came home with the sandwich maker. I figured I have not much to lose. It was $4. And I have since bought 3 more. And they have different designs on top, so I made fancy rolls for Thanksgiving. But I came home with it for $4. That night I made it and it was like, I have a sandwich. Because what you do is you take those and you cut them in half. 2 of those is like having 2 pieces of bread. Because that's what that was designed for. It was designed to put a sandwich in there, 2 pieces of bread, and whatever filling you wanted to put in. You could have, I think grilled cheese is what a lot of people make, but they can fill it with cold cuts and different things. They put it in there, they press it, it makes that little design, and then you can eat it. But I don't use it for that at all. I am actually now making rolls, which is like making slices of bread. So like I said, everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their own way of the way they like it. If you make it and you think it's too thin, go back and make it thinner. And, make it thicker. Either way. You try it both ways because sometimes you would like it the way thinner, the way it tastes. And then sometimes you may like it when the dough is thicker. See, like right now the dough is thicker. And it's actually, I don't know if you could see this. It's puffed up. There's like holes in the center, like it's puffing up like you would use yeast. And what's happening is the baking powder is doing its thing, and so is the baking soda. So it kind of fizzes in the flour and it makes the holes. I keep washing my hands. So try it first one way and try it another way. You can add in all kinds of stuff. I have all different ways. We're going to just do this today, but I have come up with all different ways of doing this. Like I said, this has become my new best friend. I couldn't live, I was so excited about this. I could not live without having one. Then I started running out, and anytime I saw one really, really cheap, I would just go pick up another one. And I think the other ones cost me also about $4 or $5. So now I've got a bunch. See how they're puffing up? They cook up so quick. And you could just eat them as rolls, just cut them open and put butter in them. I make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches now. Not in there. You actually take them out and you've got yourself little nice rolls. And how convenient is this? You're not turning on the oven. You don't have to heat anything up. You don't have to get all prepared for it. You've got this little tiny oven on its own doing its own stuff. I mean, you couldn't get any easier than this. A big family, the kids can all gather around and watch the rolls coming out. A couple, you only want a few, make just a little bit of flour and just make it fresh every day. A single person, you just make a few. And like I said, you could use that in a dorm. You can use it in a hotel room. I mean, that's what my husband's saying. If we ever go anywhere, he said we could take that with us in a hotel room and he could make bread. This is like the greatest thing, and it's so fun. You know what I forgot to do, and I was going to tell you, I think I forgot to brush the top. I didn't do it, so it's fine. It's not sticking. But what I usually do, and it's not sticking at all, is I brush the top just so it won't stick. But it doesn't. It rarely sticks. But I brush it anyways. So there you have rolls. 4 rolls will come out. The 4 rolls are equal to 4 pieces of bread. So it's the same thing as if you put 4 pieces of bread in there and made yourself 2 sandwiches. I can't see it any easier than that. The waffles I was making for sandwiches were good. They were good, and we were using it, but it was kind of like too much flour. I mean, it worked out for other things that I can show you that I came up with. But today, like I said, we're going to do this, and this was unreal. I think these are pretty much done. I would say they're done. And look at that. Yeah, they're done. Let's get them out. And they're hot. They will be hot. And because I didn't measure, of course, you got a small one and a big one. But see, these are kind of, I'm going to say they're kind of flat. But that's fine. That's because I had very, very loose flour I put in. It was a little thicker than you would make a pancake. Now this is much thicker. Oh, too thick maybe. Well, let's go ahead and try it. Look at that. Everybody's asking, how are you making your rolls? This is fantastic. You know, I made the rolls, and the next day, when I made stuffing for Thanksgiving, I crumbled the rolls apart. Not counting the ones my husband made sandwiches out of. And I mean, I made rolls so fast. Well, I was making a giant thing of stuffing. So what I did was I ran 2 of them at the same time. And it was really fast. I had everything done in less than an hour, all the breads, because I was using 2 of these makers, sandwich makers. But these are, like I said, this is not designed, not this one. It was not designed to bake in. They do make some for baking, but not, this was designed for sandwich makers. And because they're designed for that, they're so cheap. Like I said, they are so incredibly cheap. But see, now this is really thick, so you would kind of want to spread it around. You know my hands are clean because I wash my hands constantly. I'm always washing my hands. I'm not one of, you know, I don't have a problem with that. I just like having clean hands, especially when I'm handling food. When I'm working in the garden, I don't care. Handling food, I'm always washing my hands. But anyways, okay, that's it. Now we're going to brush the top because we don't want it to burn. This is going to puff up a little bit more. So we brush the top with oil, and you must get one of these brushes. I don't know what they cost, but I'm sure they're really cheap. Yes, I bought this one at a thrift store for like 50 cents. I think I got it at Goodwill. And that's it. It's so good. Oh, you want a tip? Some people like to use soap that is with the, you know, the disinfectant in it. So I get hand sanitizer. I fill this up with cheaper soap and I put a squirt in. And it works. For me, it works. Just one squirt when I fill up my own bottle. I get a great big thing of hand soap. And, well, this is hand soap, but I get a great big thing of dish soap for the kitchen. And then I just put one squirt in of hand sanitizer. That's my tip of the day. So now let's say I gave you a tip of the day. And that's what I do. So I use it in the bathroom. The hand soap is in the bathroom in dispensers with a squirt or two of the hand sanitizer. And then the kitchen one, I also do the same thing because I buy a big thing for the kitchen. Oh, that's good. All my sponges are going to fall out. Sorry about that. See, I buy it that way, and then I can add in the other soap and the hand sanitizer in there, and I got great soap. Great soap. Okay, I'm going to taste the roll. I'm going to put a little butter on it if I've got. I do. I have a little bit of butter left in here. So good. But like I said, we cut them in half. We make sandwiches. Let's see if they're too hot to handle. It's still a little warm. It's better if you let it cool if you're going to cut it, but look at this. Look at this. Look how beautiful. Gluten-free bread. You have a sandwich and cut the whole thing in half. You put your whatever you want. This is equal, I mean, look at the size of it. It's equal to one piece of bread, folded in half. You now can make gluten-free bread. Smells so good. You really think it's good? I don't think you're in the shot. Here. Molly gets her cast off next week. The grand unveiling. I was gonna put butter in it and eat it myself, guys. This is so good. If you like your bread, oh, that's a little warm. Sorry. If you like your bread a little sweeter, then you can add more sugar to it. If you don't want it sweet, don't add any sugar to it. It's up to you. When you add the smallest amount of sugar like I did, that's to bring out flavor. It's not necessarily to taste the sugar. It's kind of like using salt or pepper. It brings out the flavor. Now you can get creative with these. I've gotten really creative and I make all kinds of really good things out of this. Oh my God. I'm eating hot bread. Nobody knew at Thanksgiving I even put the rolls out. They said, why are you eating it? You guys don't eat bread. It was gluten-free. And they didn't know. They had no idea. This is so good. Now see, this one worked out perfect and it was really, really thin. I poured it in, the dough. It rose up. Okay, I gotta share now. It was just so good. I mean, can you imagine how easy this is? Look how fast I made it. I made the whole thing in front of you guys. Nothing fancy. Like I said, if you wanted to do it in a dorm, I would get powdered egg, because they do sell powdered eggs. I would get powdered milk. You know, and if you don't want to use milk, use almond milk. If you don't want to use any milk, use water. I've done it with water. That's almost done. It is so simple. And look, I mean, look at this. I made it too thin. I thought it was too thin. It was not too thin. I added in more flour. You could just dump. That's usually what I do. You could dump in some flour, add in an egg, and then add in as much milk as you want it as far as the thickness. The main thing is never forget your baking powder. You have to have baking powder. If you didn't have baking soda, you'd be okay. Just add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder or thereabout. But it would be good to put a little bit of baking soda with your baking powder. Like I said, gluten-free flour. I'm going to show you other ways I make it, but we're starting on the basic today. You can get fancy and do all kinds of things. I have bread. My husband couldn't believe it. I brought it home. It wasn't even that long ago. And I said, I've got an idea. I made bread that night. He could not believe. He said, this is fantastic. You would know that it's gluten-free. It's so good. I don't think you guys are in the shop. Well, they know what this is. And let me tell you something. Not all dogs will eat everything. People say, oh, dogs will eat everything. I went and bought some cheese once, some really cheap cheese. Must not have been cheese. They wouldn't eat it. Threw it on the floor. It was like, no, they wouldn't eat it. They won't eat sourdough bread when I used to eat bread either. So dogs are finicky too. Don't think they're not. But that's it. While I was talking to you, I just made 2 batches of bread. Look at this. We are done. Now, the dough is a little thicker on this one, so it's got a harder top. I'm not going to pick it up to show you, because I'm going to burn my hands. But, let me put this down right here. Look how beautiful. 2 pieces. Let me see if I can show you that so you get the concept of what's going on. And I think you have already. 2 pieces. Let's see if I can hold this without dropping it on the floor. See that? And they're hoping I drop it. That is like having 2 pieces of bread. This is a half a sandwich. So what you're going to do is cut this in half. And you put anything you want in it. You want to warm these up and you feel like having them warm, you got a microwave, stick them in the microwave for like 5 seconds. Later on when they're cold, not now. They're hot now. But if you wanted to rewarm them, 5 seconds. You don't want to rewarm them, you just want to make a sandwich, you're good to go. You split these in half with a knife, as I just showed you. I don't know what else to say. This is better than going and buying bread at the grocery store, in my opinion. Plain old white bread or some other breads, any bread. I'm not talking about gluten-free, any bread. This is so good. I cannot believe that I didn't think about that all these years. I don't know what took me so long. I don't know. It's just one day I was thinking about it. I thought, why can't I do that? Okay, this is really thick. And because it's so thick, look, I'm going to add water in here. I'm going to add tap water. Just to get rid of what's left in here and just mix it up. See, I've had people tell me, oh, we can't cook. I can't cook. You know, it's not as hard as you think. It doesn't work out. Compost it. I have a compost bucket there. You can just add in stuff. You wanted to add in something else? Add in something else. I know what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Because I'm just getting rid of what's left now because I made very little. Look at that. I mean, I'm just using up what's left. And it's not going to make that much. So we're just going to put it in. You don't want to make any more, throw it away. It's just a little. My camera shut off. So we're almost done. Look at that. Look at this. Can you believe? Look, I'm going to lift it out. It's hot. Ow, ow, ow. Now this was done because there was just a little bit of leftover in the bowl. I added in some water. And look at that. Oh, there's pieces on the end that shouldn't be there, guys. But see, it's really easy. If you didn't have milk, you could add in water. Penny, you're missing out. Come here. You're missing out. She says, oh, you're going to give us some more? Here. You want me to cater to you? This is the easiest thing. So this little unit, this little channel, sandwich maker, should be your new best friend. It's right there. Well, you missed it. Okay, move, guys. These are so cheap. I think I've seen them the regular price like $15. They'll call them sandwich makers, bread presses, whatever they call them. These are not the panini makers. That's something totally different. And you buy this becomes your little oven. I have 4 of them sitting there now, different types. Well, one of them is something else, but it's a different type. But, you know, this has just been the greatest thing. We now eat sandwiches. We're having sandwiches. We're going to have turkey sandwiches soon. And it's unbelievable. I cannot believe how beautiful this is. See, this is, if you look at it, that's a piece of bread. That's a square piece of bread if you bought a regular piece of bread. So each one that you bring out is one piece of bread. And you can make sandwiches. I don't know how I lived without this. Like I said, I went crazy when I got this. It's like I had to start looking for a few more. It's not like they're going to go away. All the stores carry them. But I use it all the time. So this is how I've been starting to make my gluten-free bread. I'll show you how I add in all kinds of things. I do add in things into the bread from my garden. I wanted to show the basics today. And the basics, again, is you're looking at about 1 to 1.5 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder. This is I use gluten-free flour. Any gluten-free flour will work. A dash of salt, maybe about a teaspoon of sugar. And that's really basically it. And then from there, you're going to just stir it up and add in water, milk, whatever liquid you want to use. Whatever you want to use to mix it up with. I use milk, but if you want to use water, water will work. I just showed you. These were made with water because there was nothing much on the bottom. And it will be just as good. I like milk. I think milk makes things a little richer. You don't need to add cream or anything like that. Just milk. If you were in a dorm, I would get powdered milk, have some powdered milk. If you want to use milk, you don't have to use milk. I did add in 1 egg, but I've made it without the egg. So it's, like I said, it's real versatile. You don't have to add in the egg. So there was also 1 egg in this particular mix. And that's it. I don't know how much easier it can be. It's like we now have bread. I can take these, if I wanted to, let them cool, and the next day break them up and make a stuffing out of them. It's so good. Just fry up some onions and bell peppers and some mushrooms and throw in this and whatever gravy or whatever chicken broth you want to add, and you got yourself stuffing, gluten-free stuffing. There's so much I do with this now, but the main thing right now is we can make sandwiches. And that was the biggest thing, was making sandwiches. And I've spoken to people who've been wanting to cut flour out, and they didn't know what they were going to do as far as sandwiches. It was something they like to do, to build a sandwich and eat it. Here's your sandwich. And now you just take 2 of these, split it, and then you can take your sandwich and on the way you go. It just, wow. We use them for raw. It's so soft. Look how soft they are. It smells so good. I have used yeast instead. I've tried it, and I didn't see a difference. So any difference in the roll. So I decided to not use yeast and just stick with baking powder and baking soda. Using a little bit of yeast in there, I had that yeast flavor, and I'm a little sensitive to it, I think. I didn't really care for it. And maybe some people who like that flavor would want to use yeast instead. So if you feel free, feel free using yeast if you want to try that. But this has worked for me. If you like this and you want me to give you more recipes and more things I do with this, please leave the notes underneath. Tell me what you want, what else do you do, and I'll just try to build on this and show you the other things I do. Please like and subscribe, and I'll try to keep doing the, cooking. I thought I was going to be in the house more, and maybe I do more videos in the house, but we're going into December now, and it's like 75 degrees and sunny and beautiful outside, so I've been trying to get my work done and then going out in the garden. I don't know if we're going to get much rain this year. We'll have to see what happens in December and January. And if I'm trapped in the house, I don't like the rain, then I'll make more videos in the house on stuff I do. Well, that's it. And like I said, don't forget to ask me questions, and I'll try to get to your questions. But today, I wanted to hit the basics. The basics on how to make yourself a really good bread. Just to start, so you have bread to eat, bread to make your sandwiches, put butter in it, peanut butter, jelly, anything. You now have bread. Not only do you have bread, you don't have to heat your oven. You don't have to worry about your oven, preheating the oven, getting your pans out. You're going to use this. And this wipes down with a paper towel. I mean, there's nothing in it. It just wipes down with a paper towel, and then you put it away. You pull it out, this thing preheats in minutes. Literally minutes. By the time you get your flour together and everything, which took me, 5 minutes, if that, this was long preheated and ready to go. You can make a whole batch of these rolls in a matter of 15 minutes. It's so fast. These things bake so fast. So I wanted to share that with you. I figured some people who are gluten-free, who've been telling me that they have no bread, you've got bread. You've got bread, and you not only this, you can tweak it to what you like. You want your bread a little sweeter? Put in some sugar. You like a little dill? Put in some dill into your dough. You like rye? I don't eat rye because rye is not gluten-free, but if you like rye, put a few rye seeds in there, poppy seeds. You can dress this thing up in a matter of seconds to your liking. And that's what I just love about this. I mean, I want to share this so bad with you guys because these things are so cheap and you can get them anywhere and they just last. I've got one. We used to use it. Oh, Gary and I used that thing almost 20 years ago, and he used it every day when he used to make himself a sandwich. He'd make a sandwich and drop it in and press it down, and he'd put meat inside and cheese and stuff. And then when he gave up his eating bread, we put it away, and we had to go look for it. And we didn't even think about it. So they last. They seem to just last and last, and they're cheap. Check around. They are really cheap. You don't need a fancy one. You just want a very simple one. Don't forget to brush it with oil, and then this way you can just wipe it down and you're done. So with that, I'm just going to say I'm done. They're beautiful. We have bread tonight. We're going to make turkey sandwiches since we have a lot of turkey left over. And I have dinner for tonight. I can make stuffing out of that. Can take that tomorrow if I wanted to, if it was left. Break it up and make a beautiful stuffing. Fry up some onions, mushrooms, bell peppers. Mix it all up. Add in some chicken broth and voila, you got stuffing. Anything else you like, you can throw in there. But this will be gone. We're going to have this for dinner. We'll make sandwiches. And I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I think that's it for now. If I want to say something else, I'll come back another day. So anyways, I will try to get together some of the other things I do. I have different recipes now, different things I put in here. Please try it if you're interested. I'm going to tell you, once you try this, it's so incredibly easy. You'll love it. So, I'm going to cut this now. I've talked enough. So, have a wonderful day. Bake some bread up. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.